Alright, so what's up guys? And today with me I have the iPhone 16 Pro Max in the desert titanium color, and in this video I will be talking about my initial impressions after using this phone for 2 days now. I got this on day one, which was Friday. I went to the Apple Fifth Avenue store, got to see Tim Cook, met Greg as well, just like every other year. And yeah, so it was really a nice experience going on day one, picking it up from the store itself. And I encourage everyone do it at least once, just to get the experience of the launch day itself. So yeah, I came from the 15 Pro Max, got the 16 Pro Max, and I do have a lot of impressions about this phone. And by the end of this video, I hope I help you make a decision on if you should jump from the 15 Pro Max to the 16 Pro Max. So yeah, first things first, I really want to quickly jump to the battery life, because that's something a lot of people care about when they get the bigger phone, which is the Pro Max. The only reason I get the Pro Max version is for the battery life. So anyway, jumping on to the battery, the 15 Pro Max already had great battery life, but oh my god, the 16 Pro Max has amazing battery life. I charged it yesterday at around 9 p.m. in the night, and used my phone like a little bit after that as well. Did sleep tracking and all that through my Apple Watch. And oh, this is the Series 10 Apple Watch, which I also picked up from the store. But yeah, the battery is at 73 now, which is amazing, and I get a ton of notifications overnight as well. So keeping that in mind, it has been good. On day one, when I was installing and logging into all the new apps, because I didn't restore anything from the 15 Pro Max, I wanted to start fresh on this new phone. But yeah, on day one it did get a little warm to touch, but nothing serious, or it didn't get hot. It was just warm. And the day one battery is usually nothing to compare with, but after that it has been really nice. One thing I was surprised with is on day two, I went out with 96% battery. I booked Uber, used Apple Maps and all that, and for almost an hour the battery was still on 96. So that's something that is really amazing. And I am pretty good with the battery situation, because even after a year of using the 15 Pro Max, my battery health is at 98%, and I am on the beta on the 15 Pro Max. So betas usually tend to eat up a lot of battery health, but yeah, I don't know, it's just I think my unit, because I've seen all others posting about how bad the battery health has gotten on their 15 Pro Max, but mine is pretty amazing. So yeah, I do keep a regular cycle, charge it to 100% every day, and so far it's been good. So the battery life, initial impressions on the 16 Pro Max is good. I just hope it stays the way it is in the future as well. Alright, so the next thing is this desert titanium color. Honestly, not a fan of it. The only reason I got it is because I usually get new colors every year, but yeah, not a fan of this desert titanium. The natural titanium was amazing, and if I compare it side by side, you can clearly see how good the natural titanium is if you compare it to the desert titanium. I don't know if maybe just a personal opinion, but I feel like the desert titanium is a little dull to my taste. I don't know, but if you're buying a new phone, people usually go for the black one or the natural one, and if you want a new color, go for the desert titanium. But personally, not a fan of it. So yeah, it's a good color, but not for me. But I'm definitely going to keep it because it's a new color, and yeah, I just wanted to feel like I have a new phone and I'm not using the 15 Pro Max. So yeah, the next thing which initially I didn't notice a lot, but after using the 15 Pro Max and the 16 Pro Max side by side, I did notice that the bezels have gotten really small. I didn't notice it initially on day one, but after using it, you can clearly see how thin the bezels have gotten on the 16 Pro Max. And yes, it is definitely noticeable. And also the size is bigger this year. If I compare it, if I keep them side by side, you can clearly see that the 16 Pro Max is a little big in size itself. So yeah, it is a really big phone, and people with smaller hands are going to have a difficult time using this phone. But anyway, as you can see, the bezels have gotten thin and it is definitely noticeable. But if you are coming from an older phone, let's say the iPhone 13 or 14, it's going to be a huge difference. It's going to be a huge difference. So yeah, another thing to keep in mind is the bigger size, and the display is amazing. No complaints on the brightness as well. It gets plenty bright outside in the sunlight, so that's not a problem. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing else to talk about if I have to compare it to the 15 Pro Max. But the display is good, and everything seems to be an incremental upgrade from the 15 Pro Max. Alright, so the next thing we'll move on to is the camera control button. And I'm sorry, it's not a button, the camera control. Honestly, for the past 2 days, I haven't used it much, but I don't want to dismiss it. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of it, honestly. I just don't want to be the person who hates on it or something like that. But I mean, I didn't use it much, or personally I didn't like it enough. I still would prefer using the buttons instead of, using the software buttons here instead of using the camera button. That's just me, and I don't know, I did not have a positive experience with the camera button here, the camera control here. For some reason, I feel that it is on a weird angle or weird position, because if you're using it like in portrait, there's always a scare of just dropping the phone. I mean, you can't really comfortably switch modes or use it. In landscape, it's okay. I mean, it's still, I would have preferred it little on the bottom here, but in portrait it's pretty uncomfortable. And I tried to take a portrait picture on day one using the camera button, and I almost dropped my phone. Maybe it's different on the regular Pros as the size is a little smaller, I guess, but on the Pro Max it's not on a good position here. I mean, they shouldn't have marketed this thing to be used in portrait mode, but I see the point that when the visual intelligence come with the iOS 18.1, how useful it will be with the camera button. But for now, I mean, yeah, not a big fan of it, and you shouldn't just upgrade your phone for this camera button. So yeah, that's the bottom line of the camera control here. But other than that, the camera has been pretty good so far. They now have a bigger sensor on, I think, both the lens, the main lens and the ultra wide. So one thing I clearly notice is the shallow depth of field we're using the main lens is more than the one we had on the 15 Pro Max. Because of the bigger sensor, you now have that additional depth when you take the picture. I'm not talking about portrait mode, but just in regular portraits, you will definitely see the additional depth of field because of the bigger sensor. And the ultra wide has been improved a lot in low light situations specifically. So cameras are good. It's just that this button is, not so useful for now. Maybe once we get the AI features, it'll change my mind, but for now it's just a button and it's at a very uncomfortable spot to be used. Hopefully we see improvements in the future, but for now it's meh. So that was about the button. The other thing is iOS 18, and honestly, after like I think iOS 16, this is the buggiest OS that they shipped the phone with. Just one thing to note is you will immediately have an update once you unbox your phone. There's an update for iOS 18, but yeah, it is really buggy. I have the 18.1 beta on my 15 Pro Max, and I'm definitely going to put it on my 16 Pro Max as well, because I just want the AI features and all early, and just because I'm used to it on the 15 Pro Max, I am putting the beta on my 16 Pro Max as well. But yeah, iOS 18 is really buggy, and on top of that there's no AI features out of the box, which I mean is okay because it's coming next month, so that shouldn't be a huge problem or a huge deal breaker. But yeah, it's just buggy, and I hope they keep improving iOS 18 and 18.1 in the future updates. So yeah, I mean that is pretty much it. Everything else is just the same as the 15 Pro Max. The action button, I still have it on for silent and ring, so I tried the different things but ended up keeping that on the silent switch itself. If you go into camera and if you go down to formats, if you go to Pro RAW, you now have different formats that you can shoot your raw images in. I put it to lossless because I want the actual file, but if you do lossy, as you can see, the sizes here do change, and you'll be able to shoot raw at maybe like less storage. So if that's what you are in, you can definitely toggle it in the settings itself. But yeah, all other settings are literally the same. You can change the camera control for a double click, or you can change it to code scanner or magnifier, anything that you like. So yeah, I mean that is pretty much it. That is my initial impressions about the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And if you have any questions for me with this phone, drop them down in the comments section. And a lot of videos are coming soon in the future. I have bunch of cases that I want to make videos on. So yeah, definitely stay tuned for that if you are interested. But yeah, for now that is pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.